Hello everyone, and thank you for joining. This is your friend David Butanda, and today we are going to be checking the Phantom assembly. So before we go to Phantom assembly, I will show you first the standard functions of the MRP, and it is basically to pass the independent requirements in X0 to next levels in the boom. So the requirements are going to be passed, and also the supply elements are going to be generated in order to accomplish the delivery of this finished product to the customer. And until this point, we have already created materials, we've made the bill of materials, we created the work centers, established the routings, and the production versions. So let me show you first the standard functionality, and then we will make this X9 the Phantom assembly. So if I go to the system and I go to the transaction code MD04, I enter here material X0 that is managed. This is at plant set DI1, and I click on continue. I can check that currently there is no stock. This is today's date. System is in accordance. The 16th of February 21st. So there is no stock. This X0, if I click here, I can check that and then go to explosion data that the level code is 000. Then if I go through the boom, X9 and X8, X9 is level 001 and also X10. Sorry, X9 and X8. X8 should be level 001 and also X9. And X10 and X11 are level 2 and level 2 respectively, and they are linked via the bill of materials. So now let me go back to X0. I will enter requirements for this level 0. We can enter requirements by going to the transaction code MD61 for stock items, made to stock items that are in the manufacturing environment for make to stock. So I enter material. MRP area is not necessary, but the plant is necessary. Version, planning horizon, and the buckets, that is months. I can click on continue, and I will enter just one unit for March 1st, and I save it. Now if I go back and I refresh, we have one item required. The next levels doesn't know about this requirement yet. So if I go to X8, there's nothing here. I need to refresh. Nothing here either. And if I go to X9, nothing here either. So the subsequent levels in the booms are not going to be in conjunction with the requirement in X0 unless we run the MRP. So let me go to X0 again. X0, and here we have the requirements. So if I want to pass these independent requirements to subsequent levels in the boom, I need to run MRP. So I can run it by going to MD01N transaction, and here I will remove the material because I want to run it for all the materials within the plant set DI1, and material scope A, which includes all the materials, and I want to select also change boom components. And here scheduling it is not very relevant yet because we haven't maintained the production orders already. So I can go for determination of basic dates, and when we create the production orders, then we will need to go for the one that considers scheduling. Planning mode, I will go for 1 and I will execute it. So level code 1, level code 2, and that's it. It completed the requirements. So now I am at level 0 of the boom, X0. If I refresh, here we have the production version 001 and the plan order that is arriving before, so that we can deliver this independent requirement, or we can have in stock this independent requirement. Now if I go to X8 and I refresh, here we have dependent requirement that comes from X0 for one piece, and we have the purchase requisition for X8 because this is a raw material and it is creating purchase requisition. Now if I go to X9, this is also a purchase requisition. Sorry, this is also a raw material, ROH. If I refresh, I can check here the plan order. Even though this is a raw material, it is creating plan orders because we can change the sourcing in the material master. I will show you that. And here we have the dependent requirement that comes from X0 for one piece also. So this is ROH. Even though this is a raw material, it is creating plan order. We can, because sometimes the material types can change the way we source them. So to change that, we can go to MM02, and if I go to X9, which is this material, I will go to X9 and I click on continue, and under MRP2 view, for not plant set DIV, this time we are in plant set DI1 and storage location set DI1, and I click on continue. The procurement type here is editable. So even though this is a raw material, I selected E, that stands for in-house production. Sometimes it might happen, let me show you a different material. I go to MM02 for X8. Sometimes, let me deselect and select MRP2 view and enter the ZDI1 plant and storage location ZDI1. So sometimes you can find this grayed out, and that is because raw materials are normally expected to be procured, or the procurement type will be F for external procurement. It means purchase requisition. But if you want to change this, you can do it by going to, let me write /n SPRM. In customizing, we can change that by going to logistics general, then material master, basic settings, material types, define attributes of material types, and here we select ROH for raw materials and go to details, and here normally it is 0. If you want to allow the change, you can go to this internal purchase orders allowed if you want to change the option, and then you can come back again to this and return it to 0. So you can activate for one change and you can come back and reactivate 0, so that no one can changes in the master data. So this is why this ROH is letting me create plan orders. So now let's go through the level 2 of the bill of material. So if I go to X10 and I refresh, we have the purchase requisition and the dependent requirements comes from X9, and from X11 we have the same. So this is the standard functionality of the MRP, to pass requirements from level 0 to subsequent levels, and also determine the weight to source. And sometimes we can also have here exception messages when we need to do additional activities like rescheduling or reschedule out, basically rescheduling something to adjust the time so that we can deliver on time the finished products. And now we said that we are going to use this phantom assembly at X9. So if I go again to X9, for example, I don't want to do an assembly here. I don't want to do an assembly, or maybe the company does not perform in fact assemblies here. So we don't want that the system creates plan orders. Instead, we want that X9 only passes the requirements to the subsequent level in the boom, X10 and X11. But this one, in fact, is not produced and is not stock in the warehouse. So let me return everything to the original settings. It means I will go back to X0 and I will delete this independent requirement by selecting here and clicking on delete. Save this one and I will refresh. Now there are no requirements, and I need to run the MRP again to get rid of this plan order and purchase requisitions created through all the bill of materials. So I go to MD01N, press enter, I remove the material X0, I select 8, change boom 1 and 1, click on execute, level 0, level 1 and level 2. So this was done. Now if I refresh, everything is 0 in stock, no requirements and no supplied elements. I will go through all the boom. We can also do it by going to this show overview tree, refresh, and here we have this icon. We'll select this line. Here we can check all the materials that compound this X0. Well, let's go through the standard process. So X0, we have X9, and if I refresh, everything is gone. X8, and if I refresh, everything is gone. X10, refresh again, refresh. So now everything is clear. I go to this last one and refresh, everything is clear and it's showing 0 in all the components inside the bill of material. So now the functionality I want to show today is that I don't want that the system creates plan orders or requirements for X9. Instead, we want that this X9 only passes the requirement to X10 and X11. So let's do that in the system. To do that, I need to open a new session and I go to it seems that I will have to relog in to the system. So let me anticipate that. Sorry, I created a lot. Again, I will have to relog in. So user, let me enter my user and also my password. That's it. So we want to configure the phantom assembly. So to do that, I go to mm02 change material master. Let me do it in capital letters, mm02. For material X9 is going to be the phantom one. So if I click on continue, I need to go to MRP2 view, continue. For plant, set the I want, and storage location set the I want, click on continue. So here I need to select a special procurement. Then there are no values here. So I can go through this path, or I can go to SPRO to show you the full path. So if I go to SPRO, SAP reference IMG, under production, and basic data, no, better, or we can use this also. So if I click here on special procurement under material requirement planning. So let me show you again. Production, materials requirement planning, procurement proposals, not here. There must be master data, define special procurement types. So here I can click on execute, and I want to use phantom assembly, phantom in planning, phantom assembly. So this is created with the combination of plant, this is just the description of the plant, and the special procurement type. And currently I have not created for set DI1 anything. So I can copy the standard one, click on copy. This will take me inside this configuration, and I can enter here my own plan. Set DI1, this time we are using this plan, set DI1, special procurement type, this is in-house production, special procurement E, in-house production, and phantom item needs to be selected. So I click on continue. The entry was copied, and now I can save it. So that's the step that we need to do here in customizing. Then I need to come here to MRP2 view of the material, and I want to make phantom, and here I enter the 51 that we just created in SPRO. So I save it. This is just a warning. We can continue, no issues. We are having issues here because of the customization in SPRO for raw ROH. So let's change it just for a moment. So I go to SPRO SAP reference IMG. Then this I already show you. Logistics general, material master, basic settings, And material types, define attributes of material types. So I will go to ROH just to allow this so that this allow me to save the phantom assembly. So in ROH I go inside and I enter here boom. That it is basically I want to allow purchase internal purchase order. So I will just save it for a moment so that I can save this phantom assembly here. So if I try to save again, it seems that I will have to restart the transaction. So I am not going to save and I will go to MM02 for material X9. Under MRP2 view, continue, plant set DI1, and storage location set DI1, continue. Here I select 50 and I save it. That's it. Now let me return in SPRO because in the system there are other users and it is better if they can use the standard functionalities of the system. So I go to logistics general and then again material master, basic settings, material types, define attributes, ROH, find it here. No, I better go for position, ROH, continue, select and go to details, and I will returning to the original settings. It was good so that you can also check in case these issues appear in your system. So it was returned to the original settings. And now that's the first step. Assign the special procurement type in MRP2 view for this X9. That is this one. And the next step is go to the bill of material CS02 to change for, and here we enter the top level or level 0 of the boom, X0, that contains X9 in this. For plant set DI1, boom usage 1, continue. So in this X9, I double click inside and I go here in the item level special procurement. I need to enter 50 also and save it. And now this is all the settings that we need to do in material master and in the boom master, so that now the requirements are going to be created here, but not here. This is just the linkage of a bridge between X0 and X10 and X11. Let's check that in the system by going again to MD04 transaction, stock requirement list, material X0 at plant set DI1. So here I will create again demand in the forecast demand. So I go to MD01 transaction code. Sorry, not this one, MD61 material X0 at plant set DI1 version, this one, horizon and buckets. Continue, march one piece and save it. Go back to this one. The requirements, independent requirements are created. Now I will run the MRP MD01M, press enter. I remove X0. I change boom component. I select change boom components, and here again I go for 1 and 1 determination of basic dates. Planning mode 1, and I execute low level code 00, low level code 1, and low level code 2. That's right. All the levels in the booms were managed by the MRP. So now here let's check the functionality. For X0 there is a requirement and supply element. For X A, there is purchase requisition, the supply element and demand element. So everything is fine. And if I go to X9, the one that we wanted to be a phantom assembly, if I refresh, there's nothing here. But if I go to X10, the requirements are passed to X10 and to X11. That comes from X9, X11, and X10. But for X9, that is the phantom one, there are no requirements and nothing here. Normally, there should be a legend here that says phantom assembly. It might not be appearing here because of the material type. Well, the functionality is perfectly working. So requirement from X10 are passed, and from X11 are also passed. Or for X9, there is nothing here. That will be everything about phantom assembly. Thanks a lot for watching this video. Please like and subscribe if you want more videos like this kind. Thanks.